Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am 12 Kyle. Check this out. On this episode, what I'm going to talk about is 2022 in a roundabout way. Like at the time of this recording, which I need to put that, I really, really, really need to put that slogan on a t shirt. Underdog, put that on a t-shirt. Um, so at the time of this recording, it's the end of the year, right? And so, a lot of times you turn on TV or you go on the internet and you have these things that people just give their year in review. They do a year in review and talk about, all the things that happened, the good and the bad and the people that we lost and all kind of stuff like that. So, and I've done that before too. On my blog, I've got a couple of year in reviews just in pictures, not like summarizing the entire year, but just in pictures. Um, I didn't want to go that route because I got a bunch of pictures this year and just didn't want to do it. But uh, instead of giving you a breakdown of every single thing that happened in my wonderful, illustrious life, yeah, right. What I wanted to do is just kind of I was in the car the other day and I just thought about this. I was like, why don't you just do 12 dope things that you did in 2022? Because I did a lot of dope stuff. I'm sure just like you, we all did dope stuff. I think it goes without saying that most of us, in fact, all of us, you included that's listening, all of us did dope stuff in 2022. Hopefully we did more dope stuff than we did whack stuff, but nonetheless, we all did dope stuff, right? So here is my summary, if you will. 12 dope things that I did this summer. I mean, excuse me, that I did in 2022. I'm sorry. Um, Number one, February 20th, 2022. I attended a concert. Uh, Concert was at State Farm Arena in my hometown of Atlanta, GA. And who was on stage that night? Well, I'm glad you asked. Jodeci, Charlie Wilson, and all six members of New Edition. That's right. um, that concert was incredible. Now, full disclosure, I saw New Edition. God, it must have been 15, 16 years ago, something like that. Like it had to be at least 15 years ago because I think we saw NE before. I want to say Sharice was pregnant with Brandon. So it had to be like 15 years ago, right? So it had been that long, but I'd never seen Jodeci before and never seen Charlie Wilson. My brother had seen Charlie Wilson perform several times, and he told me, he was like, "Yo, Charlie Wilson's gonna tear it down." I was like, "Okay, okay." And I mean, like, I'm very familiar with Charlie Wilson's music, and of course, his time in the Gap Band is legendary. But I'd never seen him do a show. And Jodeci opened up, followed by Charlie, and then New Edition closed it out. And Jodeci, I want to say, had like a 30-minute set. Charlie Wilson had probably about an hour and a half set, and New Edition had like a 2-hour set. Um, and of course, New Edition's set was broken into pieces. You had, New Edition performing as a total group. Um, then Bobby Brown had his set. Ralph Tresvant had his set. BBD, Belle Biv DeVoe had their set. Johnny Gill had his set, and then they came together at the end as New Edition for the final set. But incredible concert. If you did not see that concert, you missed out. And again, I was really happy to see Jodeci because I'd seen, like I said, seeing them for the first time. Huge fan of Jodeci. And all of the members showed up. And all of the members were sober. Shout out to Autumn the Aries. Autumn and I did a episode on the Jodeci album, their debut album. And I don't know. I think Autumn was at the concert. I think she tweeted that she was there. I can't remember. But yeah, that show was off the chain. If you ever get a chance to see New Edition perform live, if you're a fan like me, do yourself a favor and go see the boys from Boston. So that was dope. Like I said, that was February 20th, 2022. March 4th, 2022. The place was the Hyatt Museum in downtown Atlanta, Midtown Atlanta. Visited that particular museum to see the Obama portraits. This was a dope family event. My wife, Sharice, and our kid, well, all our kids with the exception of Cameron was there. Dion was there, our oldest, Brandon, our youngest son, and Skylar, our daughter. Our son Cameron he's away at college. Dion he's in grad school, but he came home that particular weekend, and we went. But that was really, really dope. And it's funny because like I've passed this museum a gazillion times. It's on Peachtree Street in Midtown Atlanta, and never been. I mean, like I'm not even gonna give y'all an excuse as to why I've never been in this museum. But I said I was gonna do more dope shit like that, and I will go on forward. I'm not really a big museum guy, but I do believe in, exposing yourself to different things. But it was really, really cool and really, really dope to see the Obama portraits, of course, of First Lady Michelle Obama and President Barack Obama. We miss them. We really do. But the portraits were really, really dope. If you got a chance, I don't know if they're still, it was at the time there was some type of tour that they were going on. They were going to different cities, taking these portraits so that people could, see them up close and personal, take pictures with them. We took a bunch of pictures with the portraits, and it was a really good groove, man. Really good time. So that was dope. Number 3, March 13th. The place, State Farm Arena again. This time, we had gone to see my favorite basketball team, the Atlanta Hawks. Now, what made this really, really dope for me was that was my date. Our daughter Skylar, who was 10 at the time, went with me, and it was just a daddy-daughter date, and we went to see the Hawks. This was her first Hawks game, not her first professional basketball game, but her first Atlanta Hawks game. And they were playing the Indiana Pacers, and the Hawks won. And I mean, listen, I had no idea, because I mean, like, I watch basketball all the time, and Skylar never sits and watch basketball with me. She'll watch a little bit of football, but she never really watches a lot of basketball with me. So I didn't think, I went basically for the experience. It wasn't so much as, and we had great seats. It wasn't so much as for the, the game or whatever. Cause I love watching my Hawks, but I wanted to, just kind of see her in that environment and that experience. And when I tell you, Skylar was loud the whole time. Making noise. If somebody was at free throw line, she was yelling. And the Hawks have this thing where in the fourth quarter, if an opposing player misses 2 free throws only in the fourth quarter, if they miss 2 free throws at the free throw line, then the entire arena gets free Chick-fil-A sandwiches the next day or whatever. And so when it got around to the fourth quarter and guys were getting fouled and going to the free throw line, she was on one. She was yelling so loud. And unfortunately, nobody, a couple of guys missed 1 free throw, but nobody missed both free throws. So it was really, really cool seeing my daughter in that environment, and us spending some daddy-daughter time. And I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. She had a good time too, and I look forward to us going to more basketball games together. Number 4, May 29th, Atlanta. Me and the family, we attended an escape room. Um, an escape room is just what I just said it is. It is a maze, if you will, for you to get in and try to get out, and you have to go through these processes and follow these clues and everything. Um, I'll be honest, it was a great idea that Sharice came up with. It was a great time because at that particular time, everybody was home. The boys were home from college, and so we went as a family, the six of us. And but it was frustrating as hell. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Like, it was very frustrating trying to get the clues together. I would suggest, if you haven't checked one out, check it out. Um, it's something I would definitely do again. Obviously, you pay to get into it, so I mean, you want to get your money's worth. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and anytime you get a chance to do stuff, particularly with our older two being off away from at college, it means that much more when they come home and we can spend time together as a family. Um, Number 5, June 26th, the place, Cancun, Mexico. Got a chance to go to Cancun for a week. Sharice and I flew down there, was down there for a week, and had a ball. We went down to celebrate my home girl, Shelly Shell. Shout out to Shell. You guys have heard Shell on this podcast before. Shelly Shell turned 50 on July. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't July. It was June 20th. Did I say June or July? I don't know. Anyway, it was June 26th when we went down there, but Shelly Shell's birthday is June 28th. And went to Cancun, man. Cancun was live. We had a good time. We had a ball. Got a chance to hang out, got a chance to hang out. My bad. Hang out in Cancun. So people we were with almost got arrested because of a pizza. I need to ask Shella if it's okay if I tell that story on this podcast. That story was funny. I would tell it, but I would prefer to ask her before I tell it. So remind me to ask her, because I could shoot her a text now, but I'm not sure when she get it. But I'm sure she probably wouldn't have a problem with it, but it was a funny story. So yeah, somebody almost got arrested because of a pizza. But no, Cancun was dope, man. It was dope. And I mean, like, it was just good to, get out of the country and, experience Mexico. It was really cool, and people were very friendly, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I look forward to going back. Definitely going back. July 30th is number 6. Place, Florence, South Carolina. That's my hometown. That's where I grew up. Went back for a family reunion on my mom's side. That was real cool, real chill. And it was very important for me because I had not, or we had not, I should say, we have not had a family reunion on my mom's side, man, probably since like 88, 89. Like, like, it's been that long. Like, it was, and it's good because, like, one, I got a chance to see some cousins that I never see. Got a chance to see some family that I never see. And then just also exposing my kids to, that part of the family. Of course, they know my mom and, their cousins and stuff like that. But, and it's always funny because, like, when my kids get with their cousins, they all, stick together. So I'm like, hey, y'all can mingle with some other kids or whatever. But it was cool, man. It was really cool. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just like I said, seeing some of the older, and then, it's always interesting is, like, I remember, seeing people at the last family reunion, and they were so much, they were quote unquote grown-ups back then, and now they're, a lot of them are elderly now. And then, of course, you look around the room and, you see some some names and you don't see the faces, and that's those who have left and transitioned on. Um, I think family reunions are dope. I think the thing that I will say about them is that it's your history, and I'm a firm believer in history. I'm a firm believer in knowing your own history and where you come from and who you come from. Um, we celebrated my great grandparents? My great grandparents were slaves. Like, so I'm not that far removed from, um, what the world and what people really went through. Um, and so, seeing everybody and eating and the food was good and it was it was a bunch of food. I mean, it was a bunch of food. But it was dope, man. And I got a chance to obviously while I was in at the crib, see my dad and stuff. So that was cool too. But yeah, family reunions, if you get a chance to go to your own, please do. Please do, because and also the thing I will say before I move on, with family reunions, I think one of the biggest things is talking to the elders, talking to the elder statesmen and stateswomen of your family, because those are the lifelines. Those are the ones that tell the family story. Those are the ones that, went through the struggle, if you will. And their struggle is far, far greater than ours. Um, and like I tell my kids all the time, like your grandparents, just your grandparents alone are walking encyclopedias. I mean, like they've seen so much and they've done so much. And, you don't really think about it as a child, but, a lot of those lessons and things of that nature, kind of get lost especially as people transition on. So, you want to get as much information as you can from them and learn about their experiences growing up and what it was like. And it also make you appreciate life a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's important. Number 7, September. No, I'm sorry. Let's go back before we get to September. Number 7, August 15th. August 15th, place H-Town, Houston, Texas. Got a chance to visit Houston for the first time. I'd never been to Houston before. Houston, I was surprised. I mean, I fly in, I get out the car, I'm in the car, get to the, get my car, I'm driving, and I'm riding around and I'm looking at the skyline. And I'm like, wow, this is a nice skyline. And I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking. And the skyline like seems to go on forever. And I'm like, yo, this place is huge. And then I mean, like, cause I never once looked up to see what Houston's population was, or, how many people or how spread out it was. I had no idea Houston's like the 4th or 5th largest city in the country. It may be 3rd, I don't know. And it is huge. And I mean, like, you literally could go 40 miles in like any direction and still be in Houston, the city of Houston, not just, the outskirts of the suburbs. But man, Houston is dope. It is really dope. I'm sure I'm telling most of you something that you already know. But yeah, Houston was dope, man. While I was there, got a chance to see and finally meet the big homie, D Murph. Shout out to D Murph. Man, me and D Murph broke bread together and kicked it, man. Real good brother. I mean, of course, you guys know that. You've heard Murph on here. You've heard me on Murph's podcast. And but yeah, good to see him. And I'm gonna be back out in H-Town, man. We're gonna make it happen. I want to get me a Trill burger. And it seems like every time, like I could never catch a Trill burger. But I got word that Bun B's Trill Burgers will be in a brick and mortar spot in January. So in 2023, when I get back to Houston, I'm gonna give me a Trill Burger. But yeah, Houston's real dope. If you have not been to Houston, go check out H-Town. What's next? What was this? Number 8, I think. September 22nd. Lakewood Amphitheater, Atlanta, GA. Man, listen. Concert. Wu-Tang and Nas. Listen, man, that concert was bananas. One of the things that I loved about the concert was DJ Scratch. Shout out to Scratch, who's EPMD's DJ. You guys know. Scratch said at the beginning of the concert, he said, "Hey, as he's warming up the crowd or whatever, he says, hey, when this concert starts, there's not going to be any stops." He's like, there's not going to be any stops, wardrobe change. He's like, the concert, he's like, we will go from one act to the next, to the next, to the next. And man, he did not lie. Nas did all the hits. Wu did all the hits. They had a guest feature for Busta Rhymes came out there. He did some joints with the great Spliff Star. Man, but hey, I think Bust did maybe about 4 or 5 songs, man. But I mean, like, Busta Rhymes' energy after all of these years is unparalleled, man. Busta still gets it in. But Nas and Wu killed it, man. And I think the thing that was that made the show even more special was that I went with Dion. So, my 23-year-old son is there with me at the Nas and Wu-Tang concert. And he's not just there just because he's there because he knows all of the words. Like, he's a fan of both acts. And so it just took me back to, like, I remember he might have been in like 7th or 8th grade. And I had these stack of CDs or whatever like that. And I was going to get in the car one day and I went to grab Illmatic. And I grabbed the CD and I opened up the CD case and the CD was gone. And I was like, well, damn, let me go look and see if it's in the car. So I went and looked in the car. I didn't see it in the car. I was like, oh, damn, it's not in here. And I know my wife didn't have it. And I was like, so I went in Dion's room and I went in his room and I looked inside the disc changer and it was Illmatic in there. And Enter the 36 Chambers was in there too. And I'm like, wow, he took my music. And I wasn't, like most parents be like, man, I can't believe, you can't take my music. I was just happy that he was getting into the music that I grew up listening to. And so fast forward to that particular night, I just had a moment where, I almost got kind of choked up, man, because I'm sitting here, the songs are being played, rhymes are being said, and me and him are just rhyming all the words. And I mean, like, we're going back and forth with Nas songs. New York State of Mind came on. We lost our minds. He recorded a video, and I thought he put it on IG, but he didn't. He sent it to me. I said I was going to put it on IG, but yeah, we had a ball. We had a ball, man. I mean, that I've done some dope things in 2022, but that one right there might be at the top. I mean, anytime you get a chance to spend time with you, and he came home from grad school, that particular weekend. So that was dope. That was dope. The next one, October 15th, The Place, Orangeburg, South Carolina. South Carolina State University, Homecoming 2022. Man, listen. You guys have heard me. I'm not going to wax poetic about SC State again, but you don't need me to tell you this, but I went to a pretty damn dope school. Shout out to all of the alums at the illustrious South Carolina State University. Homecoming was off the chain, man. It's hard to put it into words, but it felt good just to be back on the yard. I felt even though I was, I went last year, but I mean, being back on the yard and it, not so much as worried about COVID and, just everybody back. I got a chance to see my man, Coach Jay, my college football coach, got a chance to talk to him for a couple minutes and take some pictures. I saw a lot of familiar faces. There's only one person that I didn't see that I needed to see. And I sent him a message. I was like, man, I'm gonna kill you the next time I see you because I didn't see you at homecoming. Got a chance to spend some time with my man Psycho. And there's a reason why they call him Psycho. But if you went to SC State, Psycho. But me and Psycho hadn't talked in a while, man. We came in together as freshmen. And seeing all my teammates, as many of you know, that's where I met Sharice at. So we went together and, we took Skylar and Brandon with us to the game. And my mom came down, my brother came down. Well, my brother went to South Carolina State too as well. He and his wife Janya, they both graduated there too as well. So my mom came down, so she got a chance to see obviously her grandkids and stuff. So it was a great time, and homecoming is always off the chain. I can't say much more about it. The next dope thing I did, October 28th, the place, Florence, South Carolina. I was at Wilson High School's homecoming. Now, this is different because I had not been to my high school homecoming in 9 years. 9 years. So it's been 9 years. So I was like, we had, and our high school homecoming is huge. It's huge. I mean, like it's as big as most colleges, small college homecomings. So yeah, I was it felt good to be back in the crib, man. It felt good to be back in the crib. My boy Zell came, Derek came, my boy Rudy was there. I mean, we had a good time. There's a lot I can say, but I'm not gonna say it. Just know that we had a ball. Shout out to Wilson High School. Homecoming was off. We lost the game, but I mean, I don't think anybody cared. I mean, because when we have homecoming in our city, I mean, it literally shuts the city down. And if you want to find a model for huge high school homecomings, check out Wilson High School in Florence, South Carolina. Anybody will tell you nobody does it like that. What was next? Next dope thing I did was September. No. I think it was October. We hit 400 episodes. 400 episodes of the 12 Kyle podcast. Listen, that was pretty special. And the reason why I say that is because I started this podcast just doing me, just doing what I wanted to do and talking about what I wanted to talk about and kicking it with the people that I wanted to kick it with. And when I started in 2015, I didn't think I'd get to 400 episodes because I don't think you start doing something to say, hey, I want to get to 400 episodes. But when I look at what I did, and then I look at, if you tally up all of the episodes of this year up until this point, including the subsequent episodes that will happen before we go into 2023, I would have done 85 episodes. That's a lot of episodes. And even when I counted it up, I was like, damn, what the hell was I on this year? And again, it's not something that, because obviously you're going to get the weekly episodes on Thursdays at midnight, but you got a lot of bonus content too. And I'm just talking about my podcast. I'm just talking about the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm not talking about, the guest spots or, showing up on Eclectics episodes, his podcast or Frocast or Jay Boog's podcast or Autumn's podcast, or Baylor's podcast or D-Mer's podcast, or Doug's podcast. I mean, the list goes on and on. So yeah, it's special, and it's something I don't, take lightly. And it just kind of shows and reaffirms that, I like doing what I'm doing. I really do. And I don't think you set out to do 85 episodes. I mean, I guess if I kept it up at the same pace next year, then the numbers would suggest that I probably would hit 500. I can't necessarily say that's the goal, but I mean, I'll get there eventually, I guess, whenever I get there. But it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. And this is something I think that's dope. And I give myself some credit, but also give you guys credit, because the podcast is going to be here whether or not you show up or not. So, and it's something I'm going to keep doing until I find something else to do or something when I get tired of doing it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm under contract for another year, so that's all that matters. But that was something that was really dope, and I want to again thank you guys again. The next thing that I did was dope was September 23rd. Place, Atlanta, GA, my house. We hit 22 years. 22 years of marriage. Sharice and I hit 22 years. We celebrated our 22-year anniversary. It don't feel like 22 years. And I mean, you guys have seen and heard Sharice on here. It doesn't feel like 22 years. It's a journey that we started. I mean, it's really been longer than that when you think about, the fact we met in college and we were dating in college before we got married. So it's actually been longer than that, but 22 years of being married. It's had its ups and downs, but that's what it's supposed to be. I tell people all the time, like, it's not easy, but it's not supposed to. I mean, anything worth having is not, there's nothing you can get that's going to be easy, that you really, really want. But we're two people that work at it. And, we have a really good foundation on a friendship. And that's where we started, just being friends. And, but to hit 22 years, it's really a blessing. It's not something I take for granted. And, it's not something that, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I wave a magic wand and I'm perfect, because I'm not. And she's not either. But we work and we keep the work going. And, when one's not doing what they're supposed to do, the other one will, hey, need you to step up your game, bro. So that's how we do it. But we're good friends. And I think that's important. I think that's, if I can say anything about amongst many things about our marriages, that we're the best of friends. And I think that's important. And lastly, number 12 of the 12 dope things that I did in 2022. Your boy turned 50 this year. December 9th, turned 50 years old. The big 50, half a century, whatever you want to call it. I've officially reached OG status. The birthday was dope, man. And I'm sure some of you who are listening, saw my posts on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And I thank you. If you wish me a happy birthday, I thank you, because I didn't get a chance to go. It was way too many. It was way too many people to respond to on Facebook. But I appreciate it for anybody that took a few seconds to type that out or send a text or call or send me a message or whatever. And turning 50 was dope, man. I mean, like, it was a really cool day. I'll share with you guys something that, like, earlier in the year, I thought, I was like, yo, I should have like this huge 50th birthday party and it would be so dope. And I have all my friends and they'd fly in and on this. And that sounded good. But the reality is, like, time got past me. I'll be honest. Like, the third quarter of this year, like, was really about me hustling. It was really about me hustling at work and hustling for my family and hustling to be hustling. And I'll be honest, like, it got away from me. And then so when I started thinking about it, I was like, yo, I need to try to lock down a venue and this and that. It was just like, when I looked at it, I was like, yo, it's gonna be too much. And I didn't want it to be something like stressful trying to plan it, because I'm not, at this point in my life, I'm not up for any kind of stress. Like, I ain't trying to stress myself. I don't want to stress anybody else out. And if it couldn't be what I had initially thought in that particular daydream, then I didn't want to do it. And so Sharice's like, you don't want to do anything for birthday? And I was like, and I told her like what my vision was, and I was like, I can't pull it off. And if I can't pull it off, let's just scale it back. I said, you know me, I don't make a big fuss. And so what I ended up doing was, for lunch, I went to Top Golf. I went by myself, right? and Top Golf is one of my favorite spots. So I went for lunch, hit some balls, golf balls. Pause. I'm sorry. Hit some golf balls. Had some drinks, and then I came back home, and then we chilled, and we were supposed to go out to dinner that night, right? So, we're getting ready for dinner. I mean, getting ready, take a shower and getting fresh, dressed like $1,000,000. And and Sharice's like, come on, you need to. And I'm like, why are we in a rush? We had reservations, and I didn't ask her where we were going, and so I was like, all right, so I'm just chilling, and I don't know, it's just the way she was moving around, and I remember like one of my boys hit the group chat and was like, yeah, I'm going to the Knicks game tonight. Knicks and my man Mo, he was like, he was going to the Knicks and Hornets game, and I was like, why is he announcing this in the group chat? He's going to the Knicks. That was kind of weird, but I was like, all right, whatever. And so in our group chat, it got quiet. And our group chat is never quiet for hours. It was quiet for a couple hours, and I was like, okay. I kind of peep game, but I was like, all right. So anyway, we go to the restaurant, we pull up, park, and when we got out because Sharice drove, and I was in the passenger seat, someplace I never am. So I get out the car, and we get out the car. I see she grabs a bag, and in the bag it's a box, and in the bag says it's from one of my favorite dessert spots in the city. It's called Piece of. I love Piece of Cake. If you're ever in Atlanta, check out Piece of Cake. And so I was like, okay. And so when she grabbed the box, I'm like, okay, it's more people coming. It ain't just me and you. And so when we got to when we walked inside, it was like, well, do you want to sit inside or do you want to sit outside? And I was like, the noise level was kind of loud inside. I was like, you know what, let's sit outside. They had heaters out there and stuff. I was like, let's sit outside. I was like, because the thing that I don't know if it's me. I mean, maybe it's me in my old age, but listen, I don't want to go someplace. I don't want to go to a restaurant and have to yell to talk to you. I'm big on conversations, obviously. And yeah, I don't want to yell. I mean, I want us to be able to have a conversation and people to be able to hear me and I can hear everybody else. And so as we were standing outside, I saw my man Clark. He turned and I told Sharice, I said, yeah, I recognize that white Lexus truck. And she was like, what white Lexus truck? I was like, yeah, I see it. So I was kind of letting her know like I was in on it. I mean, by this time we're sitting at a table and there's place for 8 people. So and there's 2 of us, so that means 6 more people are coming. So what she did was she did surprise me. My boy Mo and his wife Tara came. My boy Stahl and his wife Ingrid came. Clark was there, and my boy Steve. And so that was dope. It was really dope for her to invite some of our friends here to come. And Mo came from Charlotte or whatever, Rock Hill, South Carolina, and so it was good to spend the evening laughing, joking, having dinner, drinks, the whole nine. And it was a really great way to close out a birthday. I mean, I was able to be very reflective and be appreciative and thankful for 50 years on this planet. It's not something I take lightly. There's a lot of people that don't get to see 50. And I hope and pray that each of you, if you haven't gotten to 50, that you see 50 and beyond. And a lot of people say, man, you don't look like you're 50. And I was like, okay, well, thank you. The cool part about it is I don't feel 50. Like I don't feel whatever. If you had told me when I was 20 that 50 would look and feel like this, then I take it. I don't wake up in the morning with aches and pains and needing surgery or popping pills or anything like that. I'm in great health. I still work out. And I feel good about life, and I feel good about where I am and where I'm headed. And God willing, I'll see another 50. And that's all you can ask for. But yeah, those are 12 dope things that I did in 2022. I hope and pray that 2023 will be a healthy, prosperous year for both you and I. And I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to bringing more to you on this podcast. That's going to do it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle, and I'll catch you guys next time. 5,000.